Imagine not being able to access your own money or being told how much you could withdraw.
That is the power of ISIS to spread terror.
Charities are warning of the danger of violence.
Because Brexit means Brexit.
He will truly regret it, and he will regret it fast.
Superintendent Roger Gombe orders riot police to be mobilised.
A school teacher once told me I was wasting my time. Fortunately, I'm not very good at listening to advice. Yeah, just a normal week really. Coming up with a plan. Where would I go? It's July. I've got to think to myself, I need to catch fish. I need to keep the topics moving for my weekly job, which is Angling Times. So I've recently covered barbel, tench, something else for July. And it seemed logical to do carp. Inquired around a little bit and found a fishery not too far away actually from me, Cotswold Water Park. So I came over one day, had a little look around. Yeah, it looked nice. Met the owner who runs a fish farm, growing on some beautiful carp. I thought, well, yeah, let's try and do a feature here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You can't always guarantee when you've got to deliver for the camera. There's a world of difference between going fishing for yourself and going fishing for work, in that you must deliver. The pressure is that much higher. Some people say that must destroy it, but actually I love portraying the sport, so it adds another dimension to it. This time round I got my mate Jacko. He decided to come along. I always promise him it's going to be lovely, but it wasn't lovely when we arrived. It was overcast, very windy. And the most important thing, always with fishing, is to find the fish, location. I don't know a lot about the stock. I still don't know a lot about the stock, but I had an idea that there was one or two carp, reasonable, 30 pound plus, not many. And some backup 20 pounders, but beautiful fish, scaly. So we walk around looking for fish together, and we see on a sunken island 2 or 3 show with nothing else to go on, the weather horrible. It seemed a good place to start. I didn't really have much of an idea of what kind of bait they wanted, but as always I have a plan. I had maggots with me for the margins. some particles, because I knew there was crayfish in the lake. So I had particles, so hopefully that would slow the crays down and leave some food source in the water. And I had some boilies. So that was the plan. I decided to fish where the sunken island was. Either side of it seemed to shelve down gradually before it hit Canadian pondweed. So on that shelf, where it seemed a little bit smoother at the bottom, quick lead around to fill that, and then I put some spoms of bait on top. Very basic, as I always fish, bottom baits. And I made little sticks of bait, PVA mesh, because I thought with ground bait that would leave a little bit of a trail in the water if the crayfish came in and started playing around with my baits, because I had to mesh them up. Otherwise they would have been devoured. I thought with the ground bait they wouldn't be able to eat that so easily, so it'd leave a trail for the carp to find. So I put both rods out with great expectations. We settled back. It was time to sit and wait, plan out what we're going to do, plan out how we're going to make a film, and contemplate the situation. I think if just catching a fish is all you want out of it, then you're not really an angler. It's the journey. Journey is everything. You get the rods out, you've made all the plans, you've fished as good as you can, or you hope you can, and then it's time to really lose yourself. That's what it is about, losing yourself in the countryside, in an environment. I suppose some people climb mountains, others go out on the sea. I just choose to be near water, lakes, rivers, stream. I do go to the sea, I love sea fishing. It's absolutely marvellous, and all of it just allows me to disappear. I don't want to be in the real world. I'm in a little bubble. My wife often says that, you don't know what's really going on, and why would I? I occasionally watch the news and it doesn't seem very great out there. So I'll stay in my bubble, thank you very much. And I think that's what it allows everyone to do. They've got a busy job, they've got a family. You can just step out, be it for an hour or be it for a week. You just step out of time, you relax, you chill down. You contemplate things. It's a lot slower pace of life. Well, it can be until you've got a fish on. But I see marvellous things. And yeah, I think that's part of it. It's not just the end result. Ultimately, if you don't enjoy the journey on the way, if that's not part of your experience and it isn't part of the enjoyment, then you're going to lose a great deal, because you're only with that fish for a tiny moment. You've got to get it back. You get a couple of minutes with it, and that is it. So some of my fondest memories are, just sitting on the bank, looking, dawns, dusks, glorious times, creeping around the margins, Polaroid glasses on, looking into the water, trying to understand what it's like underneath that watery veil. Spending time with mates. Yeah, I think spending time with mates is a great part of angling. I've got nearly all my friends through it. On this occasion, myself and Jacko were joined by a good friend of mine, Steve Rowley's, that I fish with. And Steve Rowley, he's a pike angler, but he loves all kinds of fishing, same as me. And he decided to pop up. Lovely social.
Wolves yeah, we're back up into the Championship now. Oh yeah. And Villa are Premiership now. Right, I think this is more than ready.
The weather had improved in the evening a little, so we could get the barbecues going, or should I say Steve could, because I'm useless at that. We got the meat on, just chatting about everything. Not just fishing, life in general. I suppose some people choose the pub. I just choose to be outside in nature, really. I suppose that's the only difference. A workingman's club or anglers collecting on a bank. You just sit there and just, you know, talk about what you've done, talk about what you plan to do. Man time, I suppose it could be called. I don't see many women fishing. So yeah, we just sat there and chewed the fat. Yeah, woke up in the morning. It was obviously I hadn't got it right. I hadn't put the pieces of the puzzle together at all correctly. I put bait over their heads. They didn't like that. Neither of the rods went. And worse still, probably, when I reeled in, the baits were chewed, the crayfish had been in. And I think if the fish had been feeding, they'd probably kept the crayfish a little bit at bay. So I needed to come up with another idea. But it's important for my job that you learn quickly. You know, sitting there, not trying to think out the puzzle, it's just not good enough. It's just putting it all together, pulling all the pieces of experiences that you're getting at the present time and also from the past, and trying to marry them together. So a quick lap of the lake, and it was fairly obvious they'd moved down to the bank to my left, behind where I'd put the bait on the sunken island. So that was it. I had to depress Jacko and say all the camera equipment, as well as my fishing equipment, needed to move around the other side of the lake. They were now further down that bank, but fairly close in. And on that bank, it's like a causeway between a trout lake and the one I'm fishing. So I come up with a big devious plan, really. They didn't want lines in the water. I didn't want to be baiting out with a spom or anything. I wanted to be throwing it in by hand, ideally. So when I moved round, instead of my lines being cast across to the far bank margin there, I decided to only fish one rod, because it's about line management. Carp know the game. There's no other anglers on the lake. So the more lines I put out, the busier I made it, the harder I would make it. It was obvious from the mistake I'd made earlier by putting some bait out and fishing two rods. So when I got in position, I actually wandered round the far bank. You were allowed to walk that bank, and I could feel it. There was one area that was slightly smoother, and I could get down into a decent depth of water, 8, 9, 10 foot. It's dropping down nice and steady. So I marked it with a big long bank stick that had a line clip on. The reason I was going to do that, my idea was cast over towards it, and instead of having the line going through the water, as it would sink down on my heavy fluorocarbon, I was actually going to fish a tight line and then reintroduce the bait via another rod and a little piece of PVA, lower it down, I just pluck it so I can just straighten the hook length perfectly where I wanted it on the shelf, hold the line, clip it up, go back round to my rod, tighten up, and my line would be in the air, going all the way back to my rod tip. That way, any carp in the area wouldn't suspect I was there. And the good thing is, I'd catch a fish, I was over deep water, just out. So I'd hook a fish, well I hoped to hook a fish, and yeah, they would spook momentarily, but the deep water would keep them coming to me. And because I wasn't going to fish down the bank and put more lines out, they'd feel comfortable out there, and I felt I could harvest bites slowly but surely during the remainder of the session. Again, I didn't see any reason to change on bait. I was on the boilies and on the particle, but now just a little scoop, throwing it out, just a little and often, that was the aim. And it worked brilliantly. Believe it or not, I had a fish. The moment I got back to the bank and put on to my rod and put on a bobbin, pulled off, and I've got a fish on. And from that point, I came steadily through the session. I had, you know, building up to it, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all in the first day. Just trying to get down this margin. Desperately. Oh. God damn me. Hell of a fight. Well, not a lot I can do, keep the rod out.
No, they've got some impressive muscle.
Not hard work fishing, you come here. I'm blood me shattered.
Is it still deep down that margin?
Yeah, it's deep down the margin. Got like 10 foot straight off the rod, well, rod tip out really. I'm absolutely beaten up on my fighting arm. This is what it's about. Chasing those dreams.
Still in the edge?
Yeah, just going down that margin. Weird fight. There's just been a big boil there, so it's not dived down. When I'm an old man, hopefully these are the memories that keep you going, sitting in your old chair. Come on. That fight is immense. Get a bit closer, Jacko. Oh, my tubing's come right up the line. It's been pushed back. Make sure that don't get jammed. Come on. It's got to be getting close now. I just want to keep it constant. I want to lift the rod up at the moment. It's just, you know, it's not too panicked. Just coming steady. Well, I thought I'd won. I got it all the way back. Oh, and it's gone again. That tubing's going to be a nightmare. Now I've got to push the tube in.
Big old tail pattern.
Ah, this is where it gets fraught. Why is that tube in there? Just don't jam up. It just will not give up. Oh, still giving massive savage head shakes and tail slaps. The length of that, lovely fish. Lovely big scaly. Right, you gotta be mine now. Come on. Yes. God, that proper beat me up. Gee. Ah. Oh. What do you think, Jacko?
Yeah, it's a beautiful fish.
Behaving now. Shattered as I am. Well, I reckon it's time to get you back, eh? So you can go and live in your home, and then maybe one day beat up another angler like you did me. Just wrap you up, make sure the fins are in, nice and flat to the body. Oh, nearly there. Right, let's go. You know when you've got it right, because I could have sat anywhere else on the lake and maybe had not got a bite, but one sweet spot and one method that really worked, and it was down to line management. The rig, as I keep saying, was and is always very basic. If you can get the fish feeding and not knowing you're fishing for them, you need nothing more than a sharp hook and something that doesn't tangle. My rig, just a piece of coated braid, heavy tubing, heavy fluorocarbon again so it sink down, lead clip. Lead would fall off nice and easy, so every time it took, I'm just straight to the fish. Stripped coated material, 6 to 8 inches, size 7 big point hook, and just a boilie, dead on the bottom, sheathed up so the crayfish couldn't get it. A little stick again, leaving a little bit of ground bait around my hook and bait. Easy, but I was lowering it in position. The fish weren't hearing any casting. They were getting bait regularly, coming towards me, and I kept catching some wonderful fish. Scaly, lovely big scaly fish, linear, near fully scaled, a common, yeah, big apple slice scales, really shaping up. It was great. You just pieced everything together, and I think that's always rewarding. That you're trying to, outwit a world that you can't see. And you struggle to understand, because we do. We think we know everything, and we certainly don't as anglers. The fish are always one step ahead. So it was, everything I could have hoped for and more. The fights as well are immense. You can't give a carp too much stick. It's not like hooking a pike. You're going to pull the hook out. So they knew that, and they really milked it. They stayed over the deep water and just kept going and going and going. My arm was killing me. Catching fish is always great. Can never get enough of it. I kept continuing, working, getting the bites. And every time it goes off, and every time it went off on that session, my heart skipped a beat. Just magic. Can't get enough of it.
Oh, you... Ah.